book to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. He dedicates to his own father, Gaur Mohan De. He says, and he says, his father, he says, a pure devotee of Krishna. Why? Because he raised Srila Prabhupada in Krishna consciousness from the very beginning. If you all have not read Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita, I would advise you all, most of you, I'm not sure what is your reading program is like, but you should read about our Acharya. When he was young, how he was trained by his father in Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada learned everything from his father, how to worship and so on. In one place, he says, "My father helped me. He raised me in everything, and all these things were solidified by my own spiritual master later on in my life." So he says that his father gave him so much in Krishna consciousness, and which was solidified by my own spiritual master. And he says, "My spiritual master, the eternal Father." So the ideas are very good that when we are practicing, all of you who are fathers or fathers to be, or fathers in future, try to see what you can give to your own children. Most people in this world, 99, I would say 99.9%, they only understand or they don't really know what goal of life is. Their goal of life is have some sense gratification, that they will become happy and they can have so much enjoyment. And they don't know the goal of life, as I was mentioning. And even if they know, mostly you'll find they will tell you the goal of life is Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. What is Dharma? Mostly nowadays, for the average person, Dharma is do some religious activity. And what kind of religious activity? Oh, let's go to the temple, take some darshan, put some $1 in the undi, and then we go home. So that's their Dharma. Yeah? So they don't even know how to practice religiosity nowadays. If it wasn't for ISKCON, most people don't know what religion is at all. It is a sad thing, but that's what it is. And then, but they know what Artha is, Artha, economic development. Why? Because the whole world is now governed by Vaishyas mainly. Mostly people who are running government, who are guiding the economy, they're all Vaishyas, and they only think of profit making. They're not even interested in the welfare of the ordinary human beings. In Krishna consciousness, we grow up, or we develop this culture of caring for other people, not just in one life. We are thinking about countless lifetimes where a person has to go through, such that they can develop this quality of appreciating who they are and how they can overcome these difficulties in their lives, particularly tapatraya, the three modes of material nature. Just like all of you were chanting, right? Purusha prakriti stohi bhungte prakriti jan karanam guna sangasya sarasa yoni janmasa. That if they don't know the goal of life, then they will be associating with the three modes, trying to enjoy this material energy, but it is not easy. Devi Shagunamai, Mama Maya Duratya, so difficult. You try to enjoy. Who's this Devi? Who's this material energy? Who she is? She is Durga Devi. Actually, who's this Devi? She's Durga Devi. And if you look at a picture of Durga, she is sitting on a tiger with a trishula, three-pointed, and those three-pointed prongs, they represent the three modes of material nature: Rajaguna, Tamaguna, and Sattvaguna. And with that, On her feet, she is stepping on the Jivatma, and then she uses the Trishula and she just stabs the living entity. So she's just stabbing every one of us with the three modes. And then we forget, oh, this is the goal of life. I have to enjoy, I have to make money. Day in and day out, we're struggling. Uh, but if it wasn't for Srila Prabhupada, if it wasn't for our spiritual masters or spiritual preceptors, our spiritual fathers, we don't know how to live a good life. So therefore, Prabhupada was giving thanks, giving appreciation to his own father, his so-called material father, Gaur Mohan De. He says he taught me how to play mridanga, how to perform Ratha Yatra, how to even worship Radha and Krishna deities. So nice, so nice. Huh? If you if you think about it, that is what the role of the parent should be for both mother and father. So, as devotees, all of you should try to encourage and facilitate the cultivation of Krishna consciousness in your children. Of course, you can't force, but you can develop a kind of program that they can appreciate, and they can appreciate who Krishna is. Just like Srila Prabhupada's father helped him develop his Krishna consciousness, so too can all of you bring them, make their life, make it a happy environment. For example, the temple have some program for the kids that they can appreciate. Oh, there is a God. There is God. Give them facilities to perform. For example, I was speaking to Satyasar. Maybe you all should do Jagannath Ratha Yatra in Austin. You have so many wonderful people out there that you all can preach to. So in the same way, Prabhupada's father imbibed those qualities in him, and later on this was solidified. All will become solidified when they take shelter of a spiritual master. Why? Because they understand who God is. Then Tasmat Gurum Prapadyate. What is that? Jignasu Shreya Uttamam. Then they will understand that I want to develop my spiritual life. So they will approach a guru. They will only approach when they become serious. If they are not serious, then this Tasmat Gurum Prapadyate cannot take place. It's very difficult. Then this nature which is inquiring, Jignasu Shreya Uttamam, cannot take place. All these things cannot take place. The spiritual master will then speak the truth. Sabde Paracha Nishna Tam Brahmani Upasamasrayam. They can then take shelter of that knowledge that the spiritual master is giving. It's not possible otherwise. It's not possible otherwise. Why? Because the spiritual master who is realized can give this knowledge. But if the person who is not ready or doesn't accept the existence of God, because they will grow up as an atheist or something, it's very difficult for them to inquire or query and then try to understand what it is. But if they have been given, if you guide them nicely, then it's easy for them to listen, and then they will be convinced by the spiritual master. Yes, this is what I need. Therefore, we should all become very. The child should feel indebted to the fathers, the biological fathers, as well as the spiritual fathers, because then they will appreciate their existence. They will know the purpose in life. Then they will not be disturbed by things that are shown by the three modes of material nature. Yeah, right? You cannot change what's happening in the three modes of material nature. Therefore, it's very important. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, if you if you look at this third canto, 24th chapter, Renunciation of Kardama Muni, there's a particular verse, I'll read that. We'll just look at the verse. Ethavati eva shushrushaha karya pitari putra kai vadam iti anumanyeta gauravena gurur vachaha. Lord Brahma is speaking. He's saying, the translation is, sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, yes, sir. So if you train your child properly, he's speaking to Kardama Muni because he had asked Kardama Muni to accept his instructions without duplicity, and then by following those instructions, you will become successful. So then Kardama Muni followed very nicely, and so Brahma is telling him, this is how the sons should be. Of course, nowadays the sons, if we do not raise them well, the sons will just simply argue. And Srila Prabhupada says, particularly in the purport, he highlights Pitari and Guru of the Guru. And Prabhupada says, without hesitation, the son must accept the spiritual master's instruction. Now, to cultivate that kind of faith, it has to start, from a very young age. Prahlad Maharaj also says that. He said, from a very young age, one should practice Krishna consciousness. If you do not, then the child will think he or she, they think they know all the answers. And then the other point Srila Prabhupada highlights is the instruction should be taken without argument. I'm not sure how many of you, when you deal with your child, how many times when you tell them to do something, they are always arguing with you, to say why I have to do. You tell them, please clean the bathroom. Why I have to clean? Please sweep the house. Why I have to do? If the child is speaking like this, then you have an asura in your home. It's not a not a devotee actually. So it's kind of something you all need to try to understand. So because of these things that may happen, and if we train them nicely, then the child will be very much indebted to the parents, very much like. Otherwise, it's just simply a waste of time. The other thing is when we are giving spiritual instructions, if you are not trained properly, then there's always this argument, as Prabhupada said. They will say, this is not correct. What you're saying is not correct. I will not carry it out. So Srila Prabhupada says that when a person talks like that, then we should understand that that person is very fallen. The spiritual master is the second father. The first biological father is your biological father is the first father. The second father is the spiritual master. And therefore, when you get initiated, particularly when you get your Brahmana initiated, you are known as Dvija. Dvija means twice born. So whenever there's birth, there's always father. Just like even Lord Brahma, he also was born from the navel of Lord Krishna or Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So there's always a father there. So the first birth is made possible by the actual father, and the second birth is made possible by the spiritual master. Right? So therefore you become Dvija. But sometimes even in some cases, the spiritual master is actually the father as well. Like the case of, you can take Vyasadeva, his father is Parasara Muni, and then Sukadev Goswami, his father is Vyasadeva, and so and who also taught him the Srimad Bhagavatam. So therefore, in some cases, the father and the spiritual master is the same person, and sometimes they differ. Mostly nowadays in Kali Yuga, they differ. But in any case, this particular verse it says that the father's or the spiritual master's order must be carried out without hesitation. One should say, "Yes, sir," immediately. "Yes, sir, I will do what you're asking." That shows one's advancement. There should be no argument. In fact, if you remember in Bhagavatam, I think it's 244, verse 240 and around the 240, 244. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states how he gives his purport on that. He says how a disciple should take the order of the spiritual master as his life's instruction. He should see it as life and soul. My guru's instruction is life and soul. Therefore, just like a man cannot separate his life from his body, right? A disciple cannot separate the order from his spiritual master. It should see it as this is my spiritual master's order. It is coming from him. It is therefore perfect. Shakshadari bin na samastra shastri. There's no difference between the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. This is stated in the scriptures very clearly. So if he does that, follows nicely, he becomes perfect. Otherwise, he becomes a fool, mudha. Just like namam duskritino mudha, right? Krishna says, all these mudhas, you become like that. Your child will become like that. If you yourself are not following, then you will also become like a Naradama, Maya Paritagyan, or Asura, one of these things, Mudha, all these things. So we don't want to be like that. We want to be perfect. Why? Because we are Divera Swarupoi, Krishna Era Nityanasa. That's our constitutional position. And we should understand that. We should take that in heart. And then we can approach the spiritual master nicely. Tadvignartam sagurum eva bhagachit samitpani srotriyam brahmanishtam. So in the old days, the disciple will approach the spiritual master with firewood because they do yagna and they teach how to perform. So in the same way, humbly we should approach the spiritual master who is going to be our eternal father. And then we serve them. And that way we also become qualified to guide others, and then take them also to the point of they themselves take shelter of some spiritual masters and they can go back to Godhead. Krishna is our Supreme Father. He is the Father of our creation. Everything is created by Krishna. Father of religion, of everything. There's nothing in this material world that is not connected to Krishna. Achincha Veda Veda Tattva, if you all know that, simultaneously one and different at the same time. Krishna's energy is pervading the entire creation. Everywhere is Krishna's energy. He is directly in his energy. Of course, because of his Achincha Shakti, we cannot perceive him. But if you remember in the 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj, his father, that is not a good father, so obviously, but his father, his biological father, asked Prahlad, where is Krishna? You say Krishna is everywhere. Is Krishna is in this pillar? Of course, when Prahlad looked at the pillar, he could see Krishna. Krishna is waving at him, So therefore he said to his father, yes, I can see him. I can see my father. So his potency is everywhere, and therefore one who is cultivating properly one's Krishna consciousness can see the Supreme Father everywhere. And therefore We have to understand. In the Bhagavad Gita, so Krishna says, Pitaham Asya Jagato. That means I am the father of this universe. It doesn't come on its own. How do we know that? In the Bhagavatam, you read the creation portion, how all this, all in the Brahma Samhita, how all these universes are emanating from his body. The Mahavishnu, he lies in the Karana ocean, and from him, all these millions and millions of universes are appearing from his skin pores. And therefore, he says, I am the father. Pitaham Asya Jagato. I am the father of the universe. Then later on, when he shows his universal form, I think Arjuna, right? He says, Pitasi Lokascha Characharsha, that you are the father of this cosmic matter. He's concluding, yes. And I can see all moving and non-moving are coming from you. So he's the father of everything. Krishna himself says, right, in the verse, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu Matta Sarvam Pravartate. So it's coming from me. I am the source of everything. Therefore, even logically speaking, if you're the source of one or something, then you're the father of that thing. You're the creator of that thing. So he then, Arjuna then, he's frightened. Then he looks at Krishna in his universal Virat Rupa, and he says, please, as a father who tolerates the impudence of a son, right? Because he's feeling guilty, he is now in Aishwarya mood, wonder, he's seeing Krishna in his opulence, he's shocked. Previously, his mood was in a Dasya Bhava, Sakya Bhava, but then that was overcome by this Virat Rupa. And so he's praying for the many mistakes that he may have committed while he was associating as a friend, as a relative. So then he says, Pitasi Lokasya Characharsya. Please, I can see all this, and now please forgive me. As a father tolerates the impudence of the son, right? Sometimes your son may talk back when you tell them to do something, and you tolerate because this fool is growing up. Let this fool learn something through difficulty. So you tolerate a little bit. So in the same way, Arjuna also confirms what we understand. He's the Supreme Father. And later on in the 14th chapter, he says, Aham bija pradapita, right? Krishna tells Arjuna, I am the seed-giving father of everything. I am the father of Lord Brahma, of all living entities. Please understand this. Of course, being a father is not an easy job. If you don't be a good father, then the consequences are very, very sad, we can say. Sad for the child. The consequences for the parent is also very dangerous. This is highlighted by, if you look at the 5th canto, 5th chapter, verse 18, there Rishabhadev instructs his son. So he says, Guru na sa sishyad, sa jano na sa shyad, pita na sa shyad, janani na sa shyad. Yeah. One who cannot deliver his dependence from the cycle of birth and death, then he says you should never become a father, a mother, a spiritual master, or a demigod also. Even demigods. So even a demigod must guide people in the right path. So the same way, all of you who are father, even mother, you should make sure your child will take this process, at least give them something. If the child turns out to be an asura, it's okay. You do your best. You teach them what you can. But if they don't take it up, then it's not your fault. But if you do not try to give them, then it is your fault. So in the same way, many of you are taking up Krishna consciousness. I actually can't see any one of you because you are all hiding behind your cameras or whatever. I don't know why you have cameras if you don't want to show your face. Um, I would like to see at least somebody show their face. But anyway, um, we should learn to thank uh, our fathers, our mothers, material as well as spiritual fathers. We should thank. Harinam Amrita Prabhu. Hari Bol, nice to see you. Long time no see. Thank you. If you cannot thank them in your physical presence, then let's say they have left their body, you can write a journal. You can just write a note to your spirit, your father who has passed away, and thank them because somehow or other, because of them, many of you have taken up Krishna consciousness. Maybe they were angry with you and you became a devotee. Maybe they were loving with you and you became a devotee. In any case, you can thank them, or you can send a thank you letter to your spiritual masters who are your spiritual father. Write to them, or even send a text thanking them. One should show gratitude. One should be grateful. One should try to understand how they have guided us in through so many circumstances, how they have brought you, how they have led you into so many different situations in life, what advice they gave you, what made you become a better person, what choices they gave you. So like that, you learn, you become grateful to them. Then you can honor them. I have said this funny story. I'm not sure whether it's a true story or not, but I have read it, and I will tell you that this was around almost 30, 20 years, 25, maybe 25, 30 years maybe. I read an article where a father, an Indian father, that his son, I think he was like 14 or 15-year-old, and the boy was making so much nonsense, so much, and so his father got angry with him, and then I think he beat him up, So the boy got very unhappy and angry with his father, and he called the police. So the police came. When the police came, the police were going to arrest the father, and then after they talked it over, the police said, in America, the parents cannot hurt the child. You cannot hurt the child. If this process continues, then the police told the father, we will have to arrest you. So then the father said, I am sorry, and I didn't know, I will not touch my son. And then the son was like, okay, then he told his father, you see, you don't do this to me anymore. So then the father said, yes, I will not do. So then it continued for a few more years until high school, and then the boy did very well, and he graduated. And then the father said, oh, this is so nice, we graduated, let's go, I'll take all of you on an India trip. So they all very happily, they got up, and they went. And then after the long flight, they got down. I do not know which city they landed, but after they disembarked, and they were walking on I think those days they were walking on the tarmac before they get into the immigration section. So whilst they were walking, the father called the son, and then the son came to the father. The father said, I have something for you. And he just beat his son. And then the son was shocked. He said, why are you beating me? He said, I'm beating you. So now you call the police. You're now in India. Let's see. So you can see, culture-wise also, you can get affected, and the wrong understanding can also take place, either with the parent or with the child. So here the father wanted to teach the son that there must be some respect for the parent, and all through the life, because many problems come about because the parents do not raise the child properly. and then they give all whatever the child wants without hard work, and then the child thinks, I deserve it, or this is according to my karma, I'm getting it, so why am I denied by the parents? So they think like that, right? And then there's another case, Srila Prabhupada quoted in a lecture, that there was a hardcore criminal, and he was being punished by the judge to death because he killed somebody. So whilst this was happening, the judge asked him, do you have any last word to say? Then he said, yes, I would like to talk to my mother. So the mother came, and then he was handcuffed, so he couldn't say. He said, please come closer, I want to tell you in your ear something very important. So the mother came, and she showed her ear to the son, and then he came close to speak. And when he was very close, he bit on her ears, and he bit until the whole earlobes fell off. And then the police all came and stopped him. And then the judge said, I thought you wanted to speak to her. Why did you do this? And he said, when I was young, whatever nonsense I did, my mother never corrected me. Whatever nonsense I did, she never. And I thought this is okay and that is all right. And so as I grew older and older, I did so many other nonsense thinking it is okay. And then finally I became a criminal. And I felt, and I feel strongly, of course, there may be other situations. My point is, he blamed his mother for not correcting him when he was young. I became fearless, and I went against rules and regulations because my mother always said it was okay, nothing was wrong. She never corrected me. And therefore, he said, I wanted to do this to her. I feel that she was responsible for the way I became. So in this case, it could be true, but at the same time, it is unfortunate. Huh? And this is a real life story. So in this case, it's a very unfortunate incident to happen. We do not know sometimes how our child will turn out to be, but if we raise them properly, then later on they'll become a better citizen of a society. Even if they do not become a devotee of Krishna, at least they will have some sattva guna. At least they will understand the rules and regulations of society and life like that. At least they will be outstanding citizens. Of course, the most outstanding citizen is one who actually becomes a devotee. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. Life is meaningless. So one should always reflect on this. We can understand the ultimate father is Krishna, as he says, right? Bija, aham bija pradapita. I am the seed giving. How do we relate to Krishna? How are we relating to Krishna? All of you, each and every one of you, fathers and mothers, you should reflect and see, how is my relationship with Krishna? Do I see him as my Supreme Father? Do I connect with him as my Supreme Father? Do I love him as my Supreme Father? These things are very important, because Krishna consciousness is not just reading a book or following some rituals. It is an internal purification. It is very necessary. If we do not go through this exercise, and whatever we are doing here, it is just at the most, it's mode of goodness. Even though it is devotion, it is not pure devotional service. We need to understand that. And in particularly today is Father's Day, we want to thank the fathers. But in thanking the fathers, we should also appreciate that the most important thing is, what did they give me that I became a devotee, and what I can give to my future, to other children. They may not be a father, but you can be a father to everyone else. Lovingly give them what is the most important thing that will help them. What is that? Trayata Mahato Bhayat. If you give them Krishna consciousness, at the time of death, they will remember Krishna. Otherwise, you get stuck somewhere in the time of death. You're alone. There's no devotee around you. How can you remember Krishna? Therefore, if you make everyone around you at least understand Krishna consciousness, then when you are dying, your son, your daughter, all those people you have guided, they will come and they will chant for you and they will bless you and they'll pray to Krishna, and then you will also get the benefit of them. And in dying, you can see them as devotees, all your sons in quotes and daughters like that, and then you can achieve real peace. And then and they will see you as the real friend, Suridam Sarvabhuta. Not only Krishna is the best of friend, you will also become their best friend, right? So like that, you are not only the father of another human being or your own child, you are also father in a sense to even other living entities outside your home. There may be some butterflies and so many things. How are you serving them? Do you sometimes occasionally throw some prasadam for these living entities? Do you wish them well? Are you feeling that love for other living entities? That is what the greatest supreme father is. Huh? Krishna is thinking like that, and we should reflect like that. And then when we do that service, we become a proper devotee of Krishna. It's not just a process. We shouldn't just do it. Don't just, as Prabhupada says, don't give lip service to this activity. Become serious. Become a bona fide father. Okay. So I think I will stop here. There's no need to ramble on and on, or as they say, flog the horse. And if there's any comments or questions, I don't mind answering, right? Okay, so I'll open it to the Zoom audiences. Let's see how many of you want to ask questions.
Hare Krishna, Radha Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your association today. Prabhuji, I had one question. How do we keep pushing ourselves in Krishna consciousness? Because personally, I feel like I'm at a point where I'm not pushing myself more to chant more or to read more. I have like time allocated for it, and then I do it, but I'm not doing anything beyond that. How do we prevent from being stagnant?
Where are you now? Prashant, where are you living now?
Oh, I'm in Kansas City.
Kansas City. Now, is there a place where you can associate with other like-minded devotees?
It's like an hour and something away, Fuji. They have the university there.
Okay. Yeah, you see, the response you gave me also tells a lot also. Yeah, because one of the fundamental things about making advancement in Krishna consciousness is the determination also. What is my desire? Do I really want to make this change in my lifetime? In this life, do I want to make these changes? So you said it's about an hour away. That the way you said it reflected in the voice that you were not happy driving 1 hour. It's a reflection that subconsciously that you don't want to take that time to improve yourself because you see it as an obstacle. That's one of the problems. And the association is very important. If you associate nicely, then you will have nice advancement. It is what you want, actually. No one can force you. Krishna can't force you also. So what to speak of all of us? We can say, we can get together and chastise you. I can chastise you. But yeah, it may touch your heart and you may change. But at the same time, it may not touch your heart and you may not be happy about it. Yeah. So then it may, instead of attracting you, I may push you away from practicing. In your heart, you have to make this conviction. Having said that, unless you associate, you will not also make this advancement also. And how do we make advancement? And how do we associate? One should associate in the mood of a servant. Service allows us to cross these difficulties in our heart. There's so much feelings of the ego is so strong that we don't want to take shelter of anyone. We may take even initiation from the spiritual master, but we don't really want to surrender to the spiritual master. So therefore, the ego binds us even further, and it locks us into this awful cycle of birth and death. And then many lifetimes later, then you realize I have to really take it seriously. So why go through so many lifetimes? Why can't you be realist, become a real person, understanding I shouldn't be doing this thing. I want to go home back to Godhead in this lifetime. Let me take a humble position. Why everybody wants to be the controller? So when we understand this, and when we can cultivate this seriously, it can only be cultivated with association with devotee, because devotees will point mistakes. Devotees will say, "Hey, Prashant, you're a fool. Why are you doing this? Prashant, get up. Do this service." Then you will see, because they care, because they love. Therefore, they will find faults. Not that they're finding faults to put you down, finding faults so that you can become a better devotee. So yeah, you said it's 1 hour. So my point to you is that 1 hour going to help you in the long run, eternally? Or is that 1 hour more important for you than eternal damnation, the other part of the coin, So if you think like that, then you will make choices, better choices. That's one way. The other way is you can always call some devotee and have an association on the phone, and read together, discuss some philosophy, and then talk about your life, how many rounds you're chanting. That's another thing. Now, you also mentioned your chanting, sometimes it's not serious and so on. There are many groups who do chanting in the morning. They have conferences. You can join one of them, and then you can chant together. There are many sincere people who want to help, So if you in your heart truly want to make that change, you can make, because you are your own master, Yeah. Of course, when someone superior tells you, you may listen, but for how long will you continue that? So make a plan, make a tangible plan that is valuable for you in this life, that is much more important than other things. Sure, I'm not saying give up your material occupation or job or anything, but have it properly prioritized. Priority means it's important, not just I write it in a journal and that's good enough. Yeah. And then also reflect at the end of the day. Reflect on your day. What did you do? What are your spiritual activities? What are your material things? What you have achieved? Where you see yourself in the next few weeks, in the next few months, in the next few years. And as you review them daily, you will tangibly you will understand whether you're a fool or you're a good person. And then you can make choices after that. I hope that helps. Yeah.
Oh, that helps. Thank you, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Other comments? I can see Latika Mataji.
So, Prabhu, there is a question in the temple.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Radha Krishna Prabhu. This is Satyarup Gauranga.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to show me your Satya Rupa?
Yeah, I am showing my Rupa, Prabhu. Yeah, Prabhu. So I have a question, right, Prabhu? So you are taking this Father's Day as a serious? If so, what is the gift you want to give to the Supreme Father today, to Krishna?
What would I give or what would you give?
No, you suggest me whether I can consider it as a serious, and if I need to take this as a serious Father's Day, because this is not like in our culture or like that, right?
Yeah, but still, as I mentioned, even Srila Prabhupada was thinking about his own father after so many years for giving him so much Krishna consciousness. So, as a father, you should also think how I have guided my own child, both materially and spiritually. What have I given them? So, it's not a question of should you take it seriously or not. The question is you have a child and are you taking them back to Godhead? So that is the question you should ask yourself. Am I serious enough to take them back to Godhead, or I'm just having children and letting them do what they want? Yeah.
But why we need take a day for that? It is a lifelong commitment, right? It's
Yes.
not a day for that.
Yes. Well, I didn't create this Father's Day issue, but it's probably this is something that is commercially for all of us. Daily, we go to the temple. Daily, we pray to our spiritual master,
Yes.
right? So it's a daily endeavor to ask for the spiritual master for a mercy. We go to the temple, and every morning we sing the song, right? So therefore, for us, it's not just one day program. Every day we worship our spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, and we ask them for guiding us, thank them for guiding us, thank them for everything, and we ask them for their mercy so that we can also serve them nicely and hopefully go back to Godhead. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. And what is the gift we can give to Krishna today?
Thank him for giving you the good intelligence and that he does not remove that intelligence ever again, that you can focus in your Krishna consciousness and that you took up this process and that you can bring more people to his lotus feet. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
You're welcome. Thank you. That's nice.
Any other questions anyone have in the temple room? Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radha Krishna Das Prabhu, this is Suvarna Manjari. I just wanted to thank you for sharing the example that you gave Prashant Prabhu on, yes, the distance is far, but how we cover that distance is mindset and determination. And I just wanted to share that many years ago, when I was at the LA temple, there was one Mataji who used to come almost 2 hours drive each one way every Sunday. And I asked her, you come from so far? And she told me something that has stayed with me forever. She said, you know how far Golok Vrindavan is? This is just, I'm practicing to get to Golok Vrindavan. If I cannot cover this distance, how will I reach Golok Vrindavan? So I just want, what you shared with Prashant Prabhu just reminded me, and I wanted to share with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Swarna Gopi. Thank you so much. That was a very good example. I will remember this so I can use it when I see someone else who gives me some excuse. I liked it so much. It's so far, Goloka is so far. This is nothing. Thank you so much. Yeah. Anyone else want to share something? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Radha Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. This is Radha Damodar Das.
Yeah, Radha Damodar.
So one question I have is about the Prabhu. You mentioned about Suvurdam Sarvabhutana. So you had to be friendly with every living entities and everyone. So in practice, that is not very easy to do that. So I would like to get, even with we have so many people around, and we always cannot treat everyone the same way. So could you give us some advice on how to make that statement to Hare Krishna?
The philosophy of devotee association or living in a congregation and so on for devotees is to develop loving relationships. So, regardless of whether someone is advanced or less advanced, we do understand how we treat each other may differ from one person to another, but the treatment is always covered with the affection and love for one another. One should always be a well-wisher of the other person. I may disagree with you, but it doesn't mean I have to shoot you or kill you or destroy you. That is not our philosophy. For example, let's say you are a temple president, and then I may be also in the same temple. I may be more senior, but you may be junior to me, but you're the temple president. And if you tell me, Radha Krishna, you have to do this, Radha Krishna Prabhu, do this like that, and I may say, but this is how we have been doing it for so many years. Then you say, no, from now on, I want you to do. My job is to follow you, because I know you are trying to do your service as a temple president. I have given you my opinion, and you have looked at it, and you have decided, no, you want it some other way. So my job is to follow you, because by doing that, I'm showing affection to you also. By denying that or arguing with you, then I'm saying you're nobody. You're not even worth a temple president. So where's my affection for you? So affectionately, I will do what you requested. Whether it is right or wrong, it's not for me to judge you. Just like when Ravana told Kumbhakarna to go and fight with Ram, Kumbhakarna told Ravana, you shouldn't do, you should surrender. Then Ram got angry and said, I am the king. Are you also going against me? And then Kumbhakarna said, no, you are my king and I love you very much, and I'll do what you want, so that others will not lose faith in you, like that. So that is the affection we should develop among all of ourselves. Yes, somebody may talk so much, someone is a fool, someone is a nice person, someone is an idiot, someone is a mudha. But what can you do? We have to work together. Because ultimately, when you go back to Godhead, everyone is there. We all have to work together. Krishna is not seeing who's the best. He's seeing how we are working to become the best. So that is how we have to develop this quality of Suridam Sarvabhutanam. Not only just among devotees, also to other living entities also. When you see a small ant, you see, when will that ant go back to Godhead? So therefore you have some affection for it, like that. All right, so you chant to the ant and you go away, like that.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. Yes, Harinam Nirata Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Radha Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My question is very simple, and I want little enlightenment from you. As our body is already a prakriti, it is made of 3 modes, and we are already in this body, and of course Paramatma is also there. So it's not we have to just follow the Paramatma's instructions, rules and regulations which have been given to us in Bhagavad Gita, and be a faithful devotee to Paramatma. Can you please enlighten us a little bit? Hare Krishna.
If the way I understood is the rules, the regulation, everything is done in the scriptures, all this. And so on our own, many of us cannot understand it properly. What to speak of how to even practice it. So then we have these levels of Acharyans. So the Acharyas, according to time, place, and circumstances, they will take the same instruction, but they will modulate it to a fashion that each and every one of us can practice. Right? So like in the previous yuga, one have to go to the forest and do austerity. But nowadays we don't do that because that is impossible for us. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada has packaged a methodology which doesn't deviate from the Shastra, but it is applicable. So this is the Chaitya Guru instruction. The Super Soul's instruction is manifesting through the external form of the spiritual master. So the spiritual master then identifying the disciple, he will then also give instructions according to the nature of the spiritual master, disciple, and then he'll guide them accordingly. Now, in the beginning, maybe the disciple cannot follow everything, but the guru may, through his affection and guidance, show the disciple that it is doable, and in due course of time, the disciple will become successful. The Mukham Karati Vachalam Pangam Langyatem Giri Yadkipatamam Mande Shri Gurun Dinatarna. Because of the mercy of the Guru, even a lame person can cross a mountain, a deaf can hear, and a mute can even chant poetries like that. So, what is the ingredient in that? It is the Shraddha. How strong your Shraddha is. In all this situation of rules and regulation, the fundamental point that you have to develop is Shraddha. Shraddha to Guru, Shraddha to Krishna, and Shraddha to Shastra. So when those things are developed in the association of Guru and Sadhu and Shastra, as well as association with devotees, you will find that those things are connected very nicely. And you can see how the Chaitya Guru is speaking through different persons, different devotees, and your own spiritual master also. I hope that makes it clear for you.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Because Guru is also the representative of Lord Shri Krishna.
Yes.
So he is also in our heart and in
Yes.
our mind also.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
You're welcome. Hare Krishna.
One last question.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Then accept mine. Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji. The question I have is...
May I know your good name?
Keshava, Prabhuji. Keshava.
Keshava. You must have beautiful hair then.
Yeah, yeah, used to Prabhuji, but
Okay. You're very humble. Yeah.
Sorry, Prabhuji. So my question is, how to? This question is to the new devotees, Prabhuji. Like how to stay focused. Like how to, how to get inspired. When we present, when we means like when the devotee present, when to the young students or new devotees, like if say like who is Krishna, what is Krishna, like even when Krishna is on this planet, at that time also there are people who don't believe Krishna. Like there are a lot of examples from scripture, from Bhagavatam and also. But in this age of Kali Yuga, how to inspire people? That's the main question, Prabhuji. How to convey that yes, Krishna is
very good question.
He's our divine Father, who is our divine Mother.
Radha
Mata is our divine. How to get? Where is the source? How can we explain? How do we present ourselves? Prabhuji?
Yes, nice question, Keshava. Are you inspired, Keshava?
Absolutely, Prabhuji. 100%.
Well,
200%.
yes. So that is the most important point. You must be inspired yourself. Unless you're inspired, you cannot reflect that inspiration in other people. So how do you get that? You must become enthusiastic about everything you do. Even when you are failing, you cannot see the failure, but rather become enthused that the Lord has given you so much facilities to do that. So you always defer to the positive side rather than the negative side. My point is you have to reflect this spirit, the culture of being happy in Krishna consciousness. Why I say that is Krishna tells Arjuna, Susukam kartum avyayam. When you practice this, Arjuna, you will automatically become happy. When one takes up pure devotional service, two things take place immediately. Shubhada and Kleshagni. That means if you practice very nicely, all the distress in your life should go away. Or you see distress as just a minor thing and not a serious thing. Rather, you'll be so happy to talk about Krishna. You're so happy to talk about devotees. You're so happy to talk about Prabhupada. And in your enthusiasm, they become very infectious. And they say, wow, I like to hang around with this guy. And then on top of that, always carry some Mahaprasadam with you, and then you give them. So they'll say, I'll hang around with Keshava because he always gives me something to eat also. So there are many ways, but most important that in your heart, you should be mostly happy that you are a devotee. Then in due course of time, Krishna may test you in the beginning. People may not join, new people may not be enthusiastic, but because you are so happy, eventually you will catch some of them. All right?
All right. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. That's one. Once more.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radha Krishna Prabhu, Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dandavad.
Prabhu, I was hearing your Vyas Puja offering to Tamal Krishna Maharaj.
Who is this?
Tamal Krishna Maharaj, your Guruji?
No, I can't see who you are.
Okay, Prabhu, which direction I need to go? I want Radha Krishna Prabhu to see me.
Yeah, yeah. Now you're looking at me.
So Prabhu,
But turn more, then I can see you. Okay, you're Shika Mataji. I can't see you. It's too small on the screen.
I'm going to come closer.
Okay.
I want to capture this moment, Radha Krishna Prabhu. This is a very important moment for me. So
Okay.
this is recorded, I'm glad. So Prabhu, I was listening to your Vyas Puja offering to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And I was very inspired by what you said, where in your initial days, your Guru Maharaj said, your parents have 3 other kids, and this is time for you to leave your occupational duties and become a full-time monk. And you thought about it and you did it. And somehow it just touched me, and I'm just so excited that right after this I'm listening to you, your class today. So I may not be able to ask the question in the right way. Please forgive me. I think a couple of questions. Sometimes when we are in our occupational duties, we feel, oh, I'm doing my 16 rounds, I'm following my 4 regulative principles. How important scriptural studying is also in our everyday practice of Krishna consciousness, especially the ones who are in corporate world. So that's one question. The second question also is, when do we know it's time for us to leave our occupational duties and focus more in Krishna consciousness? I mean, we hear about over-endeavoring in material life. So those are my 2 questions.
Okay. Thank you for the question. And I'm happy that you had an opportunity to listen to the Vyasa Puja. Yeah. All right, the importance of reading. One of the things all of you should understand is whatever you listen, like even when I'm giving class and so on, it must also be verifiable. So therefore, placing faith in devotees, the devotee must also be speaking from the Shastra. Otherwise, I may make up my own philosophy, intertwining with the philosophy, or the actual philosophy. So it's a check and balance system. That's one thing. The second thing is you hear from your spiritual master, and by reading, it reinforces your faith also. It makes you a better devotee, and it makes you take up the process seriously. And when you take up the process seriously, then what is that? Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojana Janadi Ashu Vairangyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam. Right? So then what happens is when you do devotional service to Krishna, automatically jnana and vairagya will take place. All right, so the understanding will come and vairagya will come. So, which leads to your next question: when to live? When the vairagya develops in tangent with the needs of your family as well as Krishna's desire and your spiritual master's desire, and then you'll know it's time to cut off this corporate world and incorporate Krishna's world more in your life. Yeah. So that would be a simple answer. I mean, we can give you an essay on that, but that's for now, I think it's good enough. Yeah. Right? Don't make, one shouldn't make uninformed decisions. One should know exactly where one is in one's life, particularly spiritual life. And then you can give up without even thinking about it. Once you give up, you should not have any regrets. You cannot after 2-3 years say, oh, I wish I was continuing. Then you're a fool. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Radha Krishna Prabhu. We'll give a quick thank you note by Ram Prabhu.
There's one more person. Do we allow them?
Prabhu, we're already running late.
Yeah, everyone's hungry. Okay.
No, Aarti is there, Prabhu.
Okay, go ahead. Who's rounding up? Yeah.
Ram Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Ram Mohan Prabhu.
Okay.
So, thank you very much, Prabhu, for enlightening us today on the Father's Day. There are many points to take away. Is that the main is how the father is makes the kids the Krishna consciousness, and then you started with how Prabhupada accepts all the devotees as real father, and then how a father creates an environment and engages the kids in the Krishna conscious, and the biological father is the first father, but the spiritual master is the second father. And then how the Lord Brahma started, is born from the navel and Garbhodaksha, and Krishna is a supreme father, and as nothing in this material world is not connected, and then he is. You explained about that Chinta Beda, simultaneously oneness and different, and in his direct energy, and he is the father of universe, and then how he is Ham Sarvasva Prabhu is everything comes from him, and father and mother should make the kids take the Krishna consciousness, and then if they don't take it, then it's not your fault. That's one we force them. Sometimes to the extent that gets it difficult, but we make an attempt so that it will cultivate in their heart, and then they take it forever. So we should thank the fathers, and then not only even if the father exists not, the another point is mentioned that write a journal if your father is passed away, and we should show the gratitude. So thank you very much, Prabhu, for enlightening us on this day. And then there are, very interactive, we had, Q&A sessions, after this. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Ram.
Thank you, Radha Krishna Prabhu. We want to hear more lectures from you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We are moving on to the next program, Aarti. Aarti performed by Radha Damodar Das Prabhu and Kirtan by Swarna Manjari Mataji. All of you, please stand up.
Where is she?
Namo Vishnupadaya कृष्णप्रेष्ठाया भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe Jaya Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Radha Banke Bihari Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Radha Madhav Radhe Jaya Radha राधे जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे जय राधा काला चंजी राधा काला चंजी राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जयो राधे जयो राधे जयो राधे जयो श्री राधे जय गौराणिताय जय गौराणिताय जय गौराणिताय जय गौराणिताय जय जय श्रील प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की नवदीप धाम की यमुना देवी गंगा देवी तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की बृहत मृदंगा की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Hare Krishna Temple of Austin, and all glories to Father's Day. Hari Bol.
Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Pralada Lada Daine, Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha, सिलतन कान खालाये इतो नरसिंहो परतो नरसिंहो यतो यतो यमिततो नरसिंहो बहिर्नरसिंहो हृदये नरसिंहो नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलवरे नाकाम अद्भुत श्रृंगादालिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गां केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे अवकार कमलवरे नाकाम अद्भुत श्रृंगा दालिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गां केशवधृता हरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जयो नरसिंहदेव जयो नरसिंहदेव जयो नरसिंहदेव जयो नरसिंहदेव जयो प्रहलाद महाराज जयो प्रहलाद महाराज जयो प्रहलाद महाराज जयो प्रहलाद महाराज गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जयो प्रभुपाद 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 जयो जयो प्रभुपाद नरसिंहदेव की जय प्रहलाद महाराज की गौर प्रेमानंदी।